Hello and welcome back to the Innsmouth Case with me, Bardon. Right, so we're going to go to the church and see how things work now that we've agreed to be a member. Church is located on a hill overlooking the harbour. You're immediately drawn towards it. You stroll along the docks towards the cliff. You take in the pleasant sea breeze and the hustle and bustle on the ships. Your original mission pops into your mind. This place is so relaxing. It's just too easy to forget about the little girl. Out of the corner of your eye, you can see three fishermen whose boat has just moored. They are not working. In fact, they are not doing anything. They're just standing there staring at you. That feeling of serenity is slowly overtaken by anxiety. Speed up your pace. You speed up your pace. All of a sudden it feels as if you've got a big target on your trench coat. It's difficult, but you manage to swallow the provocative comments that you would have liked to hurl at the fishermen and instead try to act more discreetly. After a few yards you turn around again. They're all gone. The crew must have disappeared below decks in their little boat. What a strange bunch. Suddenly it's utterly plausible to you that people in this town can disappear just like that. You look close to the church building now, and you're relieved to find that there are a few dozen people outside its gates, and not the usual creepy intimate kind. The group are gesticulating and discussing something in a very animated manner. Normal people. As you reach the courtyard, you're able to assess the situation a little better. Two groups with about the same number of people are confronting one another, surrounded by a few more reserved onlookers. Two shady people who appear to be the representatives of the two camps are facing each other. A bronze plaque is displayed above the gates to the entrance. Engraved on it, Esoteric Order of Dagon. Well, we want to go to the church, so we're going to try going there first. And if something happens where we're not allowed into the church, we're then going to go by the crowd the way we got in last time. Whatever their issues might be, they clearly don't concern you. Two parties are so engrossed in their discussion, they don't even take note of you. You stroll past them unnoticed. Okay, just going to take a sip of tea. Why not? You're already here after all. Almost immediately, two grumpy-looking men, clothed like fishermen, stand in your way, preventing you from entering the church. You seem to have a competition going on as to who can give you the more sinister look. What now? I need to go in there? I need to go in there, you murmur, a little intimidated. I don't think so, scoffs the younger of the two. Yeah, I don't think you need to go in there. This is only for children of Dagon, the older one grunts. They look at you with a glint in their eyes. Show them the business card that the Dagon's witnesses gave you. I bet you this card is basically like, here's the latest victim, rather than here's the newest member. You present to them the business card that the Dagon witnesses gave you. The older one rolls his clouded eyes. Ugh, these stiffs. Nevertheless, he moves aside. His younger counterpart does the same. Right, well, I got us in. The dark wooden church gates are imposing. The thick rivets of black metal hinges would stand without a whole army. You're unsure whether the church might be closed right now, but you still reach for the cold handle and push it down. You lean against the door, and to your surprise, it opens. As you step inside, you find yourself in a kind of grotto. Only a few candles are lit inside the hall. The slim windows are decorated with the kind of mosaics that you know from other churches too. Yet, something is wrong here. You think to yourself, okay. Where usually there are red, blue and yellow specks of light, here there's just a monotonous greenish grey glow, just as if seaweed had crystallized and formed abstract shapes. Rows of benches stretch out all the way to the pulpit, but many of them have been overturned or vandalized. The church is a ruin, a chilly, uninviting place. Like most churches, cold, blue daylight enters through the crack in the ceiling, and just below a puddle has formed on the floor. You scrunch up your nose at the smell of decay in this place. You look around. You look around the hall, and towards the front you can see a few rows of benches that are still standing upright. You realize you're not alone. There's someone sitting on the last bench just in front of the altar. You can only make out a half-bald head with white bushy hair sticking up to its sides. The man might be waiting for the next mass, or he might be a criminal, repenting for all by himself. To the right of the altar is a small door, which presumably leads down into the crypt. There are paintings all around the walls. You look around. Okay, so what are we going to do? So before we've looked around and seen everything, right? But I think now we want to maybe just talk to him. Right, so let's walk up to the altar. A sense of morbid curiosity makes you walk over to the other end of the church to inspect the altar. You let an involuntary wow as you walk up to the raised platform. The place looks like a crime scene. Chairs and shelves have been overturned, and wine spilt over the steps. Seems like no one bothered to wipe it up. It is wine, isn't it? Of course. Yes, of course it's wine. You can barely make out the cross that once must have been hanging over the altar. It too has been destroyed. A fish sculpture has been put up in its place. You're still surveying this spectacular scene in front of you when you hear the sounds of someone smacking their lips. The old man is sitting in an antique wheelchair with his arms flopping on their armrests. You walk up to him. The smell of old leather mingles with the general odour of decay in the place. The man is thrashing his head from side to side. In the faint light you can see that his pupils are cloudy, presumably cataracts. He doesn't look at you directly, and simply stares somewhere a few yards next to where you're standing. He starts talking in a scratchy voice.
Gray, my son, is that you?
So, before we disguise the voice, right? But I don't like any of the other options, because I don't want to tell him I'm a private eye. And I was hoping that I'd be able to tell him I'm here to join the church, but that doesn't seem to be an option. So, I think we're going to tell him we're a private eye, and or do I walk by him and then try and see what's down in the crypt? I think for now we're going to tell him we're a private eye. I'm sorry, I'm a private investigator.
Private investigator? Ha!
The man laughs, or maybe something has gone down his windpipe and he's not now fighting asphyxiation. It really is very hard to tell. You think that his scorn betrays something more sinister. Why is the church in such a state? Why has the building been vandalized so badly? You ask bluntly. Either the man didn't hear you, or he's ignoring you intentionally. He's still laughing about his own private joke. Clearly the church isn't the only thing that's been damaged. A rattling cough accompanies your steps, and then the man recovers. He already seems to have forgotten that you were ever there. Out of sheer touristic interest, you want to explore the crypt of this church. Given the state the whole place is in, you find it surprising that the door to the crypt has been looked after so well. The door is reinforced with metal, the bolts are polished, and the hinges are set deep into the wall. It even has a modern lock. Why is this part of the church in particular looked after so well, when no one cares about the rest of the building? Strange. Let's pull on the doorknob. Even the optimistic, ever the optimist, you try the doorknob. Of course it's locked. You pull a disappointing face, but you can't really remember why you wanted to go into the crypt in the first place. No point. Not even explosives could help you gain access to what lies behind this door. You turn away from the crypt and return to the middle aisle. You look around. Let's sit on the benches. Why not rest and pause for a moment? You spent worse Saturdays. As soon as you sit down on one of the benches, the wood underneath creaks and sags as if it's made of rubber. You're startled and stumble back into the centre aisle. It looks as if all the furnishings have been made unusable by years of damp which is now seeping into the seat of your pants. Nice. You look around, look more closely at the paintings. Very strange. From your years of admittedly declining church attendance, you're very well acquainted with the kinds of paintings usually displayed, the Passion of the Christ and all that. This congregation clearly believes in a very different kind of legend. The first picture shows sailboats leaving a harbour, presumably Innsmouth, and going off to the ocean. There are women stooped over and waiting, children and dead people? Yes, dead bodies appear to be piled up all around the harbour. Picture number 2 depicts the boat being exposed to gigantic waves during a horrendous storm. The third picture shows an idyllic island, miraculously untouched by harsh weather. The boats have landed here. In the fourth picture, it is night. 2 people are standing in front of a bonfire. Highly problematic depiction of one of the islanders is holding something red in their hands. A man in traditional mariner clothes accepts the red thing. You look at the adjacent wall. There are more pictures over there, but you can already tell that they too have been vandalized. You decide you've seen enough paintings for one day. Your mouth has gone more and more dry while you're looking at the pictures. Something is very wrong in this town. You walk backwards almost automatically till you bump into another row of benches. You feel like you've seen enough of these vandalized pictures and creepy intimate Bible stories. You look around to leave the church. You slip back out through a small crack in the grate. An icy wind whips your face, but you still find it warmer than inside the church. You lean back onto the wall of the old church and heave a sigh. You're not sure exactly why you left, but you are glad that you did. And then we have those choices. So we're not going to do either of those because I think there probably are other things to find at the lighthouse and the beach, but I don't want to be going like to the tiniest detail of everything. So I thought that in the church we would actually get to go into the crypt and see some kind of ceremony, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So what we'll do instead is next time we will go back to the town square and see what we can see from there. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Hope you're keeping safer there, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button there on the right, or checking out some other videos here on the left, or perhaps you might even share with some friends.